To another episode of Divina's Recipes for Life, and I'm back after a really long time with an amazing recipe. In fact, really two amazing recipes, because when I got this request, I had no idea whether I should make the bread kind of donuts or the cake kind of donuts. So I just thought I'd do both in this episode, because when you can, why not? So in this episode, we'll be making red velvet donuts in both the bread version and the cake version. I once remember how I went almost into depression after discovering the donuts and breakfast buffets were made with egg. It was after 20 odd years that I was finally able to make them at home. Now I'm going to show you how to do the same so you can master making your own donuts at home without any eggs. Now you can use the recipes that I'm sharing with you today to make whatever flavors or toppings you like. My personal favorite donuts are the strawberry bread donuts with sprinkles, but today I'm going to do the red velvet donuts for you. So red velvet became especially popular in the 1950s onwards, with little chocolatey and vanilla hints, along with a nice cream cheese glaze, all in a beautiful red color. So let's start. So just before we start this video, I have to let you know one thing. Unlike the rest of my recipes, this one here is not exactly my own original, and I would like to give credit to the sources that I've used here. Basically, when you bake, it's important to use recipes that are precise, tried and tested, especially when they are eggless or vegan. So I'm going to give credit to the sources that I have used, and I will leave a link up in the description box for all of you as well, so that you may benefit from these people's expertise as well. So let's start with the bread donuts. This one was inspired by Chef Sanjaya Lama Tamang from Nepal. I found him on Facebook, and he has been posting a lot of these vegetarian and eggless recipes as well. And these recipes are like really precise. It's like you can tell he's really gone through a lot of research and hard work. And it starts with a little bit of flour, about 180 grams of all-purpose flour, then about 25 to 30 grams of fine sugar, about 1 tablespoon or less of whole milk powder, about 1 1/8 teaspoons, which is 5.7 grams of instant yeast. If you're using dry active yeast, you're going to have to activate it in the milk. So what you do with that is you take about 120 ml of warm milk, which is about 37 to 38 degrees Celsius, and then you add in a pinch of sugar and your yeast. You're going to let this stand for about 5 to 10 minutes undisturbed until the mixture froths up. Then you're going to add your red food coloring, mix that well, and use it. Add a pinch of salt. Now you're going to work on your wet ingredients. About 120 ml, as I said, of warm full fat milk, and then add a few drops of red food coloring. You're going to mix everything well, and then you're going to make a well in the center of your flour mixture and add the milk right in. Start mixing the dough until it's nice and shaggy and sticky. Now in the initial stages, it's going to be really sticky, really hard to work with, but I insist that you persist and just knead the dough for around 12 minutes or so until the dough reaches soft and smooth consistency. Now once your dough comes to a nice smooth consistency like this, you're going to add about 30 grams of softened butter and knead that into a nice dough, which will be nice and soft just like this. Now you're going to cover up your dough with wet cloth or cling film and let that prove for about 2 hours or so until it doubles in size. You see this is what you're after. Smooth and soft, and just when you put your finger there, it's going to come right back. So once you're done with that, you're going to knock back your dough and then cut and divide that into small portions as I've shown you here. And then you're going to flour your work surface and then roll out your dough into a nice thick disc. You don't need to be that precise with that, just even. So what you're going to do now after you're finished with that is use a donut cutter or circular shaped bowl or glass and cut out donut shapes as I've shown you here. Now I normally take a bowl and then cut out the circles first, since I don't have a donut mold in my house. Next, using a bottle cap or anything small enough to make a hole, I cut out a small hole in the center of the circle as shown. And there you have a donut shape right here. Otherwise, you can use your fingers to shape the donut, roll it into a small ball, and then slightly flatten it and then poke a hole in the center. Do you see this? This is what you're after. As long as you've got a nice thick ring for frying, you're going to put your finished donuts into a square of parchment paper each, and then onto a plate, and then cover with a damp cloth or cling wrap until it proofs. This should take about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe max to max 45 minutes to an hour to prove again. Next, you're going to take some parchment paper with a donut on it and carefully drop it into your slotted spoon and then into the hot oil for frying. Be gentle because you don't want to get hot oil on yourself. What you're going to do is fry it on low heat so that it cooks through on all sides, especially on the insides. Otherwise, the insides will be raw. Now it's going to puff up again in the hot oil as you see the magic here. Then nice and soft and very springy in the inside.